Good morning, everyone. It's our immense pleasure to have with us Dr. Manjeet Singh. Sir is former director ICAR DMR Solan, and the topic chosen for deliberation is global status of mushroom spawn and crop production and its export from India. Sir, please start, sir. You are audible as well as visible, and your screen is also visible. Let's move to the PPT so that we can begin, sir.
Good morning, friends. I can see that 52 of you have joined, and I hope...
Sir, 72 have joined.
My screen was showing only 54 anyway.
Okay, sir. Okay.
More will join, but
yes, sir.
We have to stick to the time, and we'll start our today's presentation. I have been asked to talk to you on global status of mushroom spawn and crop production and its export from India. The fact is that normally data on these aspects is either scanty or ill distributed, as a result of which the comprehensive picture is not every time available. In next 1 hour, we will be talking about whatsoever little I know on this aspect. You all know that mushroom are fungi, and fungi is a separate kingdom. But fungi are vegetable. That's what I always say, because all vegetarians eat a lot of fungi. They eat cheese, they eat bread, and so on. This is an old estimate which says that they are estimated around 15 lakh fungi, out of which 1,40,000 may be mushroom. But out of the total estimated fungi, the reported fungi at least few years back were 1,10,000. Now it is over 1,20,000. Out of these reported fungi, around 14 to 15,000 are mushrooms, which are mostly basidiomyces, mycetes, and some are ascomycetes. Out of these mushrooms, 3,000 are considered prime edible, out of which over 200 have been experimentally cultivated, but 6 are produced on industrial scale, as we will see as we go further. This question always asks that there are how many fungi on earth. I made a presentation with 1.5 million. Even though in 1943, Bisbee and Ainsworth reported 0.1 million, then Martin 51 estimated 0.25. Hawksworth estimate of 1991, that is 1.5 million, when only 70,000 fungi were actually described. That remained in vogue for almost 2 decades. Till in 2011, Blackwell published a paper where he titled it 1.5 of 5.1 million fungi. So according to Blackwell, there can be up to 5.1 million fungi. And a paper in 2017 by Hawksworth says that there can be from 2.2 to 3.8 million fungi, and 1,20,000 have been described. The nutshell is that there are many fungi, and we have not described even a small portion of it. Fungi, we call them mycomagician because some of the rare organisms which can degrade lignin, second largest group after insects, and 1 cubic inch of soil has up to 8 miles of fungal thread. Then why mushrooms? Because we have got so many other vegetables to eat. The fact is that we have got finite resources and land mass. Population is increasing, and in India we are going to surpass China by 2030, and our population density is much higher than that. Scientists have been working on genetic improvement, and because we made better varieties, then 1.266 billion hectare land was spared due to cereal yield improvements from 1961 to 2014, which means that had scientists not made these good varieties, we would have needed around 1.26 billion hectare more land, which of course is not possible. But then there are limits to increasing productivity to better varieties. So we need to look for alternate sources of food. We need to fix our food systems, and I believe that managing agro waste is a major challenge. And I wrote at one place that agro waste management is must for next revolution in agriculture, because agro waste is nothing but just like food. It is a sun energy fixed into the biomass, which on degradation will release energy and will produce simple molecules. The only issue is that can we harvest this energy? We can harvest it as biogas. We can harvest this energy to produce ethanol, to produce heat by burning directly, or we can grow mushrooms on this, or we can make compost and so many other options. Globally, around 140 billion ton biomass is generated. And if we can make use of this biomass, I believe it that the next revolution in agriculture is bound to be there. If we look, we have got four major problems of our times. One, that we have got limited land and limited water sources, and of course, in country like India, unemployment. But mushrooms, they require very, very less land and water, very limited amount of water, around 25 liter per kg, whereas in crops you need 2 to 3,000 liter in like rice, and they are a novel location for youth and women. Second problem is that we have got inadequate quality of food supply. The word here is quality. We might have produced good amount of grains, but now the demand in 21st century is they are not asking just food for filling the bellies, but the people are asking for quality food. And mushrooms are a food which is a quality protein, and also a crop where we produce maximum protein per unit area. Third issue is the health, because of which we are interacting online. The corona scare which we all faced in the 2020, and mushrooms have got medicinal value, nutraceuticals, and they are known to be immunity enhancers. And the last problem, of course, environment. Many of you must have heard about the pollution in Delhi and other areas by burning of the straws. So if we are not able to manage our agro waste properly, then we will face environmental problems. Fortunately, mushrooms are a good consumers of agro waste. So to all the key problems, it may be quality food, it may be health, it may be environment, or it may be limited land and water. We have the answer in mushroom cultivation, and that's why we believe that mushrooms are here to stay. Maybe we are late starters, but in the coming years, there will be much more mushroom production in our country. Mushrooms, as we saw in the last slide, not are only health food, they can be dietary supplement and medicines. In fact, globally, around 60% of the trade that occurs is of edible mushrooms, and around 30% trade is of medicinal mushroom or their products. Of course, in today's lecture, we will be focusing more on the edible mushrooms only. Our ancestors have been collected and consuming mushrooms since times immemorial. There have been sporadic attempts to cultivate it few centuries ago. For example, Auricularia, Flammulina, Lentulina, Valbrella, all these were attempted. In China, few hundred years back, around 300-400 years back, in France, button mushroom was attempted. And oyster mushroom was in around 1900 in US. But they are only sporadic and simple attempts. The scientific cultivation started only in the last century, and the commercial cultivation started only after World War II. As you can see in this slide, that even in 1960, the total production was, or the total world production was only 0.17 million ton, which is a minuscule. And in these 50-60 years, the production has increased, and as you can see it on the graph, the production has increased very steeply in the actually, and now the production is around 40,000. May I request my all participants to please put up their mics on the unmute on the mute button. So as we can see here that in the present century, there has been a rapid increase in the world mushroom production, and the estimates are that the current production of mushrooms may be around 40 million tons. It was not so, it was very less, as we saw, very small amount in 60, and that small amount also, the major share was of button mushroom, and around that was mostly in Europe and US and Australia, and in Japan and China, there was shiitake or lentranula that was being cultivated. As the time passed, the share of but kept on decreasing, other mushrooms started becoming popular, and in last century, button mushroom was the major mushroom, contributing up to more than 30%. Shiitake was picking up. But the 2014 estimates by Royce indicate that shiitake is world's #1 mushroom, followed by oyster, then auricularia. And button mushroom, which was at one point #1 mushroom, is now world's 4th most important mushroom. The other two are Famulina and Padistra mushroom. And these 6 mushrooms, Agaricus, Lentranula, Palotus, Auricularia, Famulina, and Volvorella, as you can see it, that they account for 90% of the world mushroom production. Others are contributing around 10%. The reason is that it is not only the increase in production of one particular species, but also in the number of species of mushrooms which we cultivated. As we can see it, there are 60 types of mushrooms that are cultivated in China. There has been an increase in the production of button. It is not that the button production was not increasing. From a very small production, it has gone to 5 to 6 million tons in the world. But the major shift was the increase in production of specialty mushrooms. As a matter of fact, Asia produces most of the specialty mushrooms. Now, in the topic, we included mushroom spawn production and export in addition to the mushroom production and export from India. So we will talk something about mushroom spawn production and export. Spawn production, as you know it, it is a lab procedure where you make mycelium from the fruit body, then you make mother spawn and commercial spawn. But before 1900, all the mushroom was being collected only from the wild, which means that material where mushroom was growing was collected. It was only around 1900 that spores were germinated and manure spawn was made, or spawn was made using tissue culture. The grain spawn which we all use today was patented in 1932 by Sinden, and in 60s or so, the use of liquid spawn started becoming popular. It's a lab procedure, and I am sure there will be a separate lecture on this. But here I would like to add it that in India, even the commercial people are making spawn the way we make in our laboratories, that we are following the lab procedure. But whereas you go outside, you see the Sylvan and other organizations, they are using automation, and here you can see on the right side a picture of Weave Blender, where all the raw materials are put, and automatically the whole process takes place till the filling of the bags and autoclaving. In India, we are going even sometimes backward. That this is a picture which I saw, that people have stopped using even cotton plugs, and they are only stapling and successfully producing the spawn of oyster and milky. And in India, most of the laboratories have shifted from cotton plug to polyfill, and now recently in the Tyvek filter, which is a common paper you can get in the market, that is as good as bacterial filter, and that is also being used for making the mother spawn. So these Indian innovations are low-cost innovations. They have given better results and higher efficiency. But liquid spawn in India, we are not able to do much on this. but for automation, liquid spawn technology is must. And many mushrooms like Flammulina, Hypsizygus, Shiitake, King oyster, they are being cultivated using liquid spawn in bottles in Japan, Korea, China, where they have got complete automation, which means all the bottles are filled automatically, spawned automatically using liquid spawn, and shifted to the cropping rooms automatically, where you can see these type of crops. Or they make these type of logs by using the automated technology, and from here onward, they shift to the seasonal cultivation. This is a picture from China. So now the question given was, how much is the world spawn production? As such, no data is available. Other option was that we make estimates from the world mushroom production. But then I realized it is also not easy, because the spawning rate will vary with species, and the spawning rate is also different, or biological efficiency is different. By using a particular amount of spawn, we are producing only 20 kg per 100 kg, and in Europe they produce 35 kg per 100 kg. And then we have got different type of spawn used in different mushrooms, liquid spawn and solid spawn. Because of all these parameters, it was essentially not possible to estimate the exact amount of the world spawn production. Here as an example, for example, the estimated world production of oyster mushroom is around 7.6 million ton and button is 6 million ton. And in oyster, we are using 10% spawn on dry weight basis and getting valuable efficiency of 75, which means that we will be needing around 1 million ton spawn. But in button, the spawning rate is quite low, even though valuable efficiency is low, but still the spawn required is 0.1. This is what I mean, that it is not easy to estimate, because there are a lot of variation in species, spawning rate and valuable efficiency. But still, our teachers taught us that any estimate is better than no estimate. And roughly estimating, we can see that for 40 million ton mushroom production, we may be needing around 2 to 3 million ton of spawn. For India, we are producing around 200,000 tons of mushrooms. And I believe that we will be needing around 30,000 ton, even though no data is available. And we try to collect the data, actual data, and then estimating it by linking it to the production. And this is an example from Haryana. This is the actual estimate that our actual data was that Haryana is using around 1,000 ton of spawn. But the production was not in consonance with this value, and production was almost double than was reported by the department, which essentially means that number one, we don't have the data on the spawn production in India or outside. Secondly, it is also not easy to estimate on the basis of the production. Lambert was one of the companies that in US started. Then Sylvan was, I think, the world leader in spawn production. Amicel, Mycelia. You will see so many others. Here I would just like to add about Sylvan. Earlier it was US and Europe based company, but a few years back it has been taken over by China. And if you see their website, on the copyright you can read this. Copyright 2021. Sylvan is a subsidiary of Jiangsu Yuguan Modern Agriculture Company Limited, which is a Chinese company. Now Sylvan is being primarily owned by China, even though the branches world over they are the same. Coming to spawn export. Coming to spawn export from India. You can see it that this is the data I have taken it from APIDA. There is hardly any mushroom spawn export from India, but only exception you can see here is in 2003, 4, 5. This is where we actually exported a good amount of spawn. And when I looked at country-wise, I realized that in 2004, 84% spawn went to China, People's Republic, 10% to Singapore, 6% to Hong Kong. and almost minuscule to the others, which means the major importer at that time was China. Maybe the people there, they were trying to collect our cultures and getting the stains, I'm not very sure. Or maybe we are not able to meet their standards, but this is the only time we exported some amount of spawn. Now the export of spawn is very, very limited. Shifting to the global mushroom production. The data is available for China, Japan, South Korea, India, USA, Canada, Australia, Europe, and so on. Of course, not directly. Sometimes you'll have to access it through a scientist working there. And for example, for China and Korea, it may not be available on the net. I, with my own efforts and contacts, try to collect the data, and we are updating it, and shortly we'll be publishing it. But these countries account for more than 95% of the world mushroom production. Starting with China, they are producing 35 million tons. 2018 figure is around 37 million tons mushroom production, which is more than 85% of the world production. It is not so that China was producing like this only. In 1978, their production was only 60,000 tons, whereas we are producing around 200,000 tons. Which means that the production of China in 78 was even less than half of what we are producing today in our country. But then there is a growth story of China. Today they are contributing around 87% of the world production, and rest of the world is contributing only 13% of the mushrooms. Major mushroom there is shiitake, which is around 9 million tons at present, and this you can see how it grew. The growth has been steep only in the current century. At one point of time, there was a very small shiitake production in China, and now it is much higher. In 74, 95% of the shiitake production of the world was by Japan and 4% by China. Today the picture is reverse. China is contributing 95% of the total world production of shiitake, and Japan is accounting for only 1% of the shiitake production. In Palotus, this is mainly focusing on Ostratus group. You can see it that after 2009 or so, there have been some fluctuations and rather no increase or possibly some decrease in the Palotus production. Auricularia, almost most of the production is in China, a little production in Korea and Japan. So they are the major producers and consumers of wood ear mushroom. Button mushroom, they have been fluctuations, but and they were growing seasonally. But in the last few years, they are shifting to the commercial cultivation, and the production of button is also increasing in China. Flammulina, again, you can see it that in the last 4 or 5 years, there is a stagnation in the production, even though there was a rapid increase in the earlier part of this century. This king oyster, I think this king oyster, you will see it in other slides also, is becoming very popular in the world and is replacing the other Palotus species. So this is the recent picture that wood ear mushroom or Auricularia is the major mushroom. There are actually 2 species which I have clubbed into one. 22% is shiitake, again Palotus species, including king oyster around 21%, button only 10%, Flammulina 7%, and others account for 17%. So here you can see it that oyster, shiitake, and wood ear are the major mushrooms which are cultivated in China. It is not that the whole China is growing mushroom, and you will see this picture again and again in every country, that mushroom production is localized. For example, in 80s, Fujian and Jiexing were in the southeast were the only area where there was the mushroom production. And then only in the last few years, the production has moved to the north due to cheap labor and raw material availability. But still, there is a major part of China where the contribution of mushroom to the total mushroom production of the country is almost negligible. Same is the picture with the export. In 80s, they were exporting 80% of what they are producing and consuming only 20%. By 19th, figure reverse. The consumption increased to 80%, export to 20%, even though the total production increased. In 2010, around 95% of the mushroom was consumed locally and only less than 5% was exported. Same has been happening to the prices that in 1990, mushrooms are costly, costing 50 yuan per kg, which was equivalent to half of monthly income of a normal worker. In 2010, prices were the same, but the salary was much more, and only one day's income was good enough to purchase 1 kg of shiitake, and I am very sure the prices must have come down further. Shifting to Japan, here you can see it that I have pulled 5-year data in these cases to just make a smooth curve. You can see it that at one point of time, the shiitake was the most popular mushroom. And others, they were only starting. But today, if we see it, there is shiitake, whose production was 190,716 at one stage. Today, the shiitake production is only half of that, and it is 1/3 of. Now the shiitake is at number 3, Flammulina is number 1 mushroom, Hypsizygus number 2, and shiitake is number 3rd mushroom. Same is happening to these two mushrooms in Palotus. In 80s, Palotus austratus production was quite high, around 35,000 tons, and Palotus aranjai, which was almost not known in 80s, its production has increased tremendously, and the values have crossed 40,000 tons. So this is the current scenario of Japan, where Flammulina value types contributes 30%, Hypsizygus 26%, shiitake 20%, Gryphula 10%, aranjai 9%, and Foliota Numeko 5%. Fortunately, the data is available there for species-wise and province-wise, and out of 47 provinces, only 2 provinces, Nagano and Niigata, they account for more than 55% of the mushroom production. Again, as we saw in the case of China, here also there is more production in some focused areas only. Coming to the prices, shiitake is the costliest, and enoki or Flammulina is the cheapest mushrooms. And prices are not increasing, they are decreasing over time. Fresh shiitake price is constant, dry shiitake is fluctuating. Coming to South Korea, here you can see that the mushrooms popular in South Korea are Palotus austratus, Palotus aranjai, Lentinus, Flammulina, Agaricus piscicolis, and others. And if you look critically at the graphs, except for austratus, where you can see only one peak in 1 year, and from here to here it is almost the same. In all the mushrooms, the production is almost stagnant, or even in some it is only in the decline. So here also it is almost same. So I pulled all the data, and from 2003 to 19, if we look at that Palotus austratus and aranjai, these two Palotus species, they account for 50% of the mushroom produced in South Korea. And other popular species in South Korea are shiitake, Flammulina, and button is only 7%, and that also they were using it only for export purposes. Now there is a lot of competition in export. So at one point of time they are producing more, but the production of butter mushroom has declined over time in South Korea. Coming to the third country, USA, mushroom production in USA, the total production was 402 million kg, and in butter, there's some disturbance. They mostly around 80% of the butter mushroom they are growing white button. I'm sure that you must be aware that butter mushroom originally was a brown variety and out of which a white selection was made. And today, world over, white varieties are more popular. But brown is also having its own clientele and many people are using brown butter mushroom. This white butter mushroom is around 80% and brown is 20%. And as of today, all the mushroom production which takes place, around 90% goes to the fresh market and less than % goes to the canning. But it was not always so. If you see earlier, at earlier stages, more mushrooms were going to canning and less to the fresh market. Over time, pattern has changed. The mushroom that are going to the canning, they are declining over time, and the mushroom which are more mushrooms that are being produced are being sold. And today, as we saw it in the earlier slide, around 90% of the mushrooms are being sold in the fresh market. Again, as we saw in the earlier cases in different countries, mushroom production is localized in 2 states. Pennsylvania accounts for 65% of the mushroom produced in USA, and California accounts for 11%. We saw a different picture in China where button was only 10%. We saw in Korea button was only 7%. In Japan, we didn't see button at all. But in USA, button is the major mushroom, around 97 to 98%, and only 2 to 3% is accounted for by shiitake, oyster, and other mushrooms. Prices of button, they are almost stagnating over the last decade. But the other mushrooms, which even though produced in lesser quantity, oyster and shiitake, their prices are more than that of the button. Button prices, as we saw in earlier slide, are almost constant, whereas the prices of shiitake and oyster, they keep on fluctuating depending upon the availability. But it is not that they are not using canned mushrooms. Instead of producing, they are importing canned mushrooms. The result is that in 70s, around 80% of the mushroom consumed in US was canned mushroom and only 20-22% was fresh mushroom. Today, if we add all the data of their production and import, then around 75% of the mushroom they are consuming are the fresh mushroom, and 26% of the mushrooms, they are the processed mushrooms. And if you look at the location, more processed mushrooms are consumed at home. Same is the picture in Canada. Production has been increasing, and quantity sold as fresh and for processing. As we saw in US, there was not much increase in the quantity going for processing. Rather, there is decline. Only the 6% of the mushroom Canada produces, that is 7767 ton, is going to the processing industry. Most of it is going for export or consumption as fresh. And even the fresh export from Canada is to the US, and most of the places, fresh export is to the adjacent countries. Again, same story that only out of the different provinces, only 2 provinces, Ontario and British Columbia, account for 90% of the mushroom production. Coming to Australia, they are producing around 67,000 ton of mushroom. Very little export, and of course then they will have to import to meet the demand, and the consumption is around 3 kg of mushroom. Here you can see export data. more of import and very small amount of export. And as we saw in the earlier slides, that there is localization of the mushroom production. Same is the story here. That only two provinces, New South Wales and Victoria Terminus, are accounting for 65 to 70% of the mushrooms produced in the Australia. This is the contribution of the different provinces of Australia. The third most important province contributing is South Australia. Coming to Europe, Poland has been a success story in the last few years. The production of mushrooms has increased in Poland. Netherlands, which was a big name in button mushroom production, there the production is declining because the cost of cultivation is on increase and cheaper mushrooms are available from Poland and other areas. So if you look at Europe, Poland and Netherlands are the major contributors in European Union, followed by Spain, France, Ireland, Germany, Italy, and UK. There are around 27 or 30 European Union countries, but if you total all the Europe, then these countries account for major 90% of the production in Europe, and others is only, contribution of others is only 10%. And in Europe, like US, button mushroom is the most popular mushroom, and around 96 to 97% production is of button. And oyster is the second best, around 2.8%, followed by shiitake, king oyster, and other mushrooms. Coming to the Indian scenario, like rest of the world, we were also late starters, and only in this century the production has started increasing tremendously. But despite all this increase, we are producing only 0.2 million metric tons, that account for only 0.5% of the world mushroom production. So here also there is region specific. In North India, button mushroom is more popular. In East, oyster is more popular. In Odisha coastal areas, paddy straw mushroom is more popular. In South India, milky mushroom is more popular, even though these are cultivated to some extent in other parts as well. So when we started with button. Then 10 years ago, button was the dominant factor and other mushrooms are contributing only 10 or 20%. Today, button's share in the total production in India is around 70%, and 30% is accounted for by oyster, paddy straw, and milky mushroom. So this is a story that if you look, the blue line is of button mushroom. In 2009, we are producing 101 million kg, which decreased to 95 in 2015 due to closure of one big unit in Laludu near Chandigarh. But then we again picked up in 2017. But if you see on the other side of the red line, others was also increasing gradually, and as a result, our total production is around 201 million kg. And all states are not accounting for equally. Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, HP, and UK are the major producers, accounting for 75% of the mushroom production in India. Others are contributing 25%. Even within the states, there is localization. For example, this is a picture from Punjab. Here, most of the mushroom production is localized in the eastern districts. Similarly, in Haryana, we did this study. We found that Sonipat and Panipat districts account for more than 50% of the mushroom produced in Haryana. And the districts along the National Highway GT Road, they account for more than 80% of the mushroom produced in Haryana. So if we pool all the data, we can see it that every country has its own preference for mushrooms. And to the people in USA, possibly mushroom means only button mushroom. Whereas to a person staying in Japan, mushroom may be meaning shiitake or king oyster or flammulina. World production, as we saw earlier, that shiitake is number one, producing 22%. But if you try to pool the data of Australia, US, European Union, and others, you will find it that the major button production is only in those countries. And in Asia, we are producing almost 99% of the other mushrooms other than the button. Coming to mushroom export from India. Will you please mute? Coming to mushroom export from India based on data, this is the slides are based on the data which I have taken from APIDA from this agri-exchange apida.gov.in website. So there is a harmonized system of coding, because when you deal with export, then the all countries will have to use some codes so that there is some uniformity. And these are the different codes that are being used for different type of mushroom species, for fresh mushroom, for canned mushrooms, semi-preserved mushroom, dried mushrooms, pickled mushrooms, and so on. There are different categories which are available on the net, and these are the different codes under which different type of mushrooms are exported. And here you can see in 2016-17 data, very limited amount of mushroom is exported, and around 88 crore rupees have been earned by export in 2016. We will see the details of all this in the coming slides. When we looked into the data of fresh and chilled mushrooms, we found that in early years up to 2005 or 6, the mushrooms were being exported in this form, and the major destinations were this blue line in USA, and others major was Israel. For example, here 2002-3, which is the maximum export we did, around 10,000 ton is for USA, and around 4,000 ton was to Israel. But over time, this export has almost declined to negligible, and only recently, I think, small export we are making to the Nepal in the form of fresh mushrooms. Of course, there was a shift from fresh to the canned mushrooms. India started exporting canned mushroom mostly in 2002-3, and you can see that there was an increase, and by 2012-13 again there was a major decline. Most of the export was to US, Israel, and some other countries, but major country where we were exporting was United States of America. If we pull the data of the fresh and preserved, we can see that initially we were exporting fresh, then we started exporting preserved mushroom. From here onwards, the preserved mushroom picked up, and after 2013-14, our export has almost diminished to negligible. Same thing happened in China, that initially when they were producing less, they were exporting more. But today our production is not able to meet our own market demand, and so we are not entering into export. Second reason can be that the rate at which mushroom is available, button mushroom is available in Delhi, at the same rate you can get in Netherlands, Amsterdam, or any other country in Europe. The reason is that even though their cost of production is much high, but their biological efficiency is also very high. Our cost of production is coming almost the same as is the cost of production in Europe and other countries, which means that export may not be a lucrative idea, especially if we are able to sell within our own country. And secondly, this is a vegetable with a limited shelf life, and for exporting, our destinations have to be only nearby. So this is the data of others as fresh mushrooms. Very small amount of 1,800 ton, 2,000 tons fresh mushrooms were exported from India, as the data says. And again, I think there are only peaks in 13, 14, and 15. And after that, only 200 ton or so is being exported. And small amount of dried mushroom is also exported. So if we look at the button and others, fresh and chilled, this was the data, 291 and 1,000 others. Dried provisionally preserved, and preserved, which means essentially canned. We really cannot add these figures because dried means 1 kg dried means 10 kg fresh. So here I have tried to convert these figures into the fresh weight equivalents by multiplying with the multipliers, the dried, provisionally preserved, and preserved. And by all this exercise, I realized that we are exporting very small amount, less than 1.5% of our production. Which means that, of course, there can be contradiction because I know some people claim that we are exporting much more, but then this is what the APIDA data says. Other reason can be that other than these cultivated mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms are cultivated in northeast in the hilly region of J&K in Himachal and other hilly tracts. Of course, that was the story at least up to 5-10 years back. And this data is available on APIDA website that initially we were exporting small amount. In 2001 we exported more, and now it has declined further, and after that data is not available because the code has been changed and I think included in some other mushrooms. But the fact is, as I know, that today the Maukala production has declined drastically because of the overcollection. There has been a success story in China a few years back that they could grow mushroom in the beds. And I think the best news of the last few days is that DMR Solan has also succeeded in growing this mushroom on the beds in the field. So now, after all this, what is the way forward? Number one, that we have to enhance our consumption because the production and consumption have to go simultaneously. In China, present consumption is 22 kg, world average is 6 kg. In India, we are producing less than 1/6 of kg. And in the world, there are a lot of studies to indicate that if you expose mushrooms to UV light, there is more vitamin D. As a matter of fact, mushrooms that are collected from the wild, because they are exposed to the sunlight, they have got much more vitamin D than the ones which we grow in the dark. You can, even after harvesting, expose mushroom for 15 minutes to UV light and increase the vitamin D. So we need to promote mushrooms as the only vegetable with vitamin D and B12. And also try to sell vitamin D enriched mushroom as is being done in Australia, Europe and many other countries. For example, this is a packet of Sunbella mushroom on which it is written that this packet is sufficient to meet your 100% need of vitamin D. Second important step which we need to look after is the better varieties. Because emphasis on breeding has been very limited in our country and only lately we have started these things. Till 2014 we had no varieties for most of the mushrooms except button. So even today I don't think that we have got strong breeding programs for all the mushrooms. But for breeding the prerequisite is a good quality of germplasm, which means that we have to give a concerted efforts for our germplasm collection. We don't have any swan standards or variety release procedure in our country. We don't even have tags on spawn bags to indicate variety date, etc. when the people go to purchase or when we sell. At least many of you are from the USTs. While selling, make it sure that we indicate the variety date of inoculation and other parameters just on the lines of the seed tag as we do in the other crop varieties. As I said earlier, that in US, brown mushrooms are popular. Initially, button was brown. In 26, white strain was selected. First hybrid was made in 1981 in Netherlands, hybrid U1. And in India, we made the first hybrid in 1986. But recently, the work was, I think, after 210, we again started the work. And in 2014-15, we came up with this non-bruising strain 5, and the work is still in progress at DMR Solan. But this is only for button, and I think they have started on other mushrooms as well. and I hope soon we will see the results of good varieties. The third most important thing is automation, because with changing times, labor is going to get costly. This is a picture of button mushroom where their bunkers are totally closed. Filling in the tunnel is automated. They are going for phase 3, which means that the compost is mixed with the span and the span run takes place in the tunnels. And then this compost, which is already span run, for long-term export, they have got block making machines. And at low temperature, these blocks are exported far and wide, even outside Europe. These technologies we are missing in our country. Automation here is also limited, but I think over days we will have to shift to automation. Third is that, as you saw, that button is still the most popular, whereas our country is a tropical country. So we shift to other mushrooms and also start giving focus to medicinal mushrooms. This is a picture from India, and cordyceps in Haryana, in Uttarakhand, in Punjab, and many other states is now being cultivated on a very small scale. We also need better policies and I think better contribution by the scientists, because we find that sometimes the quality span is not available, electricity is not assured, and whenever somebody wants to set up a unit, the first question is that from where I will get the trained people. My answer is always that possibly I cannot answer this question. We don't have trained manpower. Literature in local language is limited. There are so many myths about mushrooms. Even our scientists, I think, need better scientific training. And the raw material availability at places can be the problem. The secret of success of Netherlands was that they made standard farm design, where everything was standardized. That meant that mechanization was much easier. We somehow have missed on this, and my observation is that everywhere I go, every commercial unit has its own size of the racks and the distances. We need to develop the standard farm designs for all the mushrooms so that we can go for mechanization. Automation I have already talked. And to sum up, I believe that the growth is a function of positive interaction among the researchers, extension workers, farmers, industry, and policy makers. So there is a need for synchronized approach in systematically generating the awareness about mushroom consumption, because more consumption means we are able to look after more production and prices will never crash. We need proper technologies and environment for mushroom cultivation. And we need development of marketing chains for supply of fresh mushrooms. And I think we need to focus on production of indigenous mushroom products. Till now, most of the products or even the recipes we try to copy only from the Europe. Paul Stamets said that mushroom growing isn't just a rapidly expanding agri-business, it is also a significant tool for the restoration, replenishment, and remediation of Earth's overburdened ecosphere. Mushrooms are important, mushrooms are here to stay. So, because mushrooms are a health food, let's grow mushroom, eat mushroom. Thank you for the patient listening. So, any questions, please?
Good morning, sir. I am Satyajit Mahapatra, talking from Jharkhand.
Right.
Basically, I am a mushroom grower on seasonal basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you, sir, which mushroom variety do you think would have a better future aspects in India in the forthcoming years? Because button is somehow decreasing day by day as compared to the others.
I think other mushrooms are picking up. World over, other mushrooms have picked up. The ones which have gained popularity world over in the recent years is, I think I have seen the success story of shiitake and king oyster.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that other mushrooms are not good, because taste-wise, I have tasted your paddy straw mushroom, pala chattu, what you call in your area. I think that is one of the tastiest mushrooms. The only problem is shelf life. And other mushrooms are becoming popular sometimes not because of taste, but because of the marketing options. Because king oyster, milky mushroom, shiitake, they can be stored for slightly longer periods as compared to paddy straw mushroom. And that's the reason for their more popularity or maybe preference in the market. But I believe it that there is nothing like good or bad mushrooms. All mushrooms are good. All mushrooms have got a potential. As long as you can make the people aware of their benefits, and even sometime you will have to teach the people how to consume mushrooms. My experience is that when we give shiitake to someone, they look at that brown colored mushrooms, many of them will dislike it. When you give oyster to someone, they look at the gray type of color and they feel that it is a poisonous mushroom. So awareness generation of the benefits and also the method of the cooking and utilization have to go side by side. That's why I focused on one aspect, that along with the production, we need to promote the consumption, and promoting consumption doesn't mean only advertisement. This also means telling the people about health benefits and also teaching the people how to consume these mushrooms and how to eat these mushrooms.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hanji Pradeep ji. Who is on?
Hello.
Yes,
Sir, can you
please.
hear me?
Pradeep? Dr.
Yes.
Pradeep Talukdar, right?
Yeah, actually, sir, that's my father. I'm like logging in for my father's laptop.
No problem. That's what I can read from the screen.
Yeah. So actually, I'm from Assam, Guwahati. Like I'm mainly cultivating oyster, and from last year onwards, like in a very small scale, I have trying to cultivate shiitake and king oyster, but those are like more of a experimental stage, not in a commercial angle I've started. So right now, like I have two questions actually. So one is like it's a brown button mushroom which you are saying. The brown button mushroom, apart from the color, I mean, does it have any other benefit like extra antioxidant or like in compared to the white button mushroom? I mean, any other better health beneficial thing from brown than in compared to the white? And so my second question is that, like suppose if I want to import some spawns from abroad, or sir like culture, what is the, I mean sir, agency through which I have to get it? I mean, I think I need to take some permission. I just cannot bring it like this.
Right. Coming to, I think, firstly you said that you are trying to grow shiitake and king oyster. That's good. But I believe it that shiitake and king oyster need good laboratory facilities, autoclave and other things. Government has to step in to produce what I call ready-to-fruit bags. Because if you can provide ready-to-fruit bags of shiitake or king oyster to the farmers, then the production can really pick up. Second, I think your first question was about the colored variety, brown variety of button mushroom. You might have heard of the mushroom they call cribni, which are very small, portabella, which is a brown mushroom, big size open mushroom. Yes, the brown mushrooms are more tastier than the white one. They have got more antioxidants. And in the last 10 years, their consumption has increased from 10% to more than 20% in the US. And I think earlier, all the button mushrooms were only brown. Then we shifted to white. But these days, browns are also becoming popular. And farmers are also preferring it because they have got a better disease resistance and the higher productivity as compared to the white button mushroom. And lastly, the marketing. Because in white, even a small defect will get highlighted, whereas in brown, I think the marketing option will be better. Okay. Then coming to your last question of spawn import, yes, there is a set procedure. You will have to get registered. it may not be possible to explain it, but they are all the people who are making spawn. They are importing spawn from outside, and many of them, they multiply from spawn to spawn, or they are Penn State, which by charging $125, $150, they supply you with the cultures. It is possible to import spawn. It is not that difficult a thing. But the good thing is that now we have got good varieties within our own country for which you can contact DMR Solar. एक किसी की रिक्वेस्ट आई थी कि क्या मैं हिंदी में बता सकता हूँ? May I know किसने बोला था ये?
सर हम झारखंड से सर.
Yes, please.
हिंदी में ये हो नहीं पाएगा सर?
हिंदी में हो पाएगा, क्यों नहीं हो पाएगा? हिंदी आती है नहीं? आपने जो प्रश्न पूछना आप हिंदी में पूछ सकते हो.
नहीं अभी
आप पूछिए, अगर आपको
हिंदी का ही चाह रहे थे
पर हिंदी में जवाब देंगे.
हिंदी, उर्दू, पंजाबी, मराठी, राजस्थानी, बिकॉज मेरी पोस्टिंग हर जगह पे रही है.
Sir, good morning. I am Dr. Madhu Gupta. I am from Gwalior, sir.
Right.
I have only one query, sir. What should we take precaution during mushroom, which is very important, sir?
What will be?
What should we take precaution during oyster mushroom cultivation?
Okay. In oyster, I think one of the problem in India is that all the varieties which are available are high spore producing varieties. And while harvesting,
sir, I am cultivating oyster Florida.
it's okay. But now we are trying to make some low spore producing varieties. One is that if you are going for the commercial cultivation, you cannot recirculate the air the way you recirculate in button, because the spores will clog your filters. That is one thing which is to be taken care of. Second, that is true for all the mushrooms, that we need not sprinkle water before harvest. It is better to harvest them when they are slightly dry. Thirdly, the major thing which I observed is that people are not able to maintain the proper environment. They need good amount of light and low CO2, because of which the long stripe, you will find it very common in your bags, at least the bags which are on the sides. So these are some of the precautions. Otherwise, I don't think oyster cultivation is a challenge. But one thing I think which I'd like to share, because you are a researcher. Many people believe that while pasteurizing the substrate, we normally tell that put it in the hot water, but we never tell it how much hot. The fact is that if you boil it more, you are doing a disservice, because if the temperature goes above 70 degrees, all your bags will be infected with trichoderma and you will get green bags only. Pasteurization means only half an hour to 1 hour in a water temperature of 60 to 65 degrees. If you are increasing temperature above 65 degrees and keeping the straw for more than 1 hour, then it is anaerobic condition, number one, and secondly, you are killing all the useful microflora, and the net result will be that you are going to get contamination. So if you are using hot water method, make it sure that in case you are using a paddy straw, then even half an hour soaking of paddy straw directly to the hot water of 65 degrees is good enough, because on dipping 65 will come to 62. 2-3 degree loss is there in the temperature. And lastly, if you go to South India, there people have made the way you have got washing machines to spin the water out of the clothes. They have made big drums fitted with the motors, where immediately after taking from the hot water, they put in those drums. They spin it dry so that the moisture content comes low. And they can immediately, within 2 or 3 minutes, they are able to spawn it, because even after taking from the hot water, when you keep it for drying for 3-4 hours outside, many spores are falling and they can be sources of the contamination. So do it drying, or this thing should be in a covered space, not in the open sun, because in open area there will be a lot of dust and spores falling in case you are going to dry it in the open. I think that is more than the precaution you asked for.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yes, sir. I am Vinay Patel from Raipur, Chhattisgarh.
Right.
Sir, actually, I want to develop a commercial facility for mushrooms. So actually, my first preference was button mushroom. But as you had
Right.
already shown the graph that like it has decreasing day by day, and there are some other varieties
Hmm.
also. And recently, like one of my cousins started cultivation of this oyster mushroom, but in a
Hmm.
small level actually. So,
Right.
sir, as I'm planning to have a automated plant kind of setup. So, is there any kind of automation part or automation technology for oyster mushroom as well? Semi-automatic, we
Yeah.
can say.
There is a semi-automatic, automatic, all technologies are available, but unfortunately in India we are lagging behind. There are backfilling machines available outside. They are almost manual, but automatically the machine keeps on moving. You can fill the bags. There are
Okay.
machines, there are assembly lines available where you do not touch it. You put substrate at one place,
Right. Great,
automatically
sir.
it is wetted, filled, autoclaved, and inoculated. Those assembly lines are available in South Korea, in Japan, in China. So
Okay.
they are the countries. But till date, all the oyster mushroom that is grown in our country,
Yeah.
at least I am not aware of any commercial unit going around the year.
Yes,
They
sir.
are doing it
Yes, sir.
only as a seasonal activity.
Even I was not able to find anything like
There is no
regarding
one
this.
which is going commercial. So
Yeah.
button, because we started earlier, so technology for button is available
Yeah.
in better way. That's why most of the people are still going for the button mushroom.
Sir, one
So
more thing, hello.
yes, please.
Yeah, sir, one more thing, as government has already providing subsidies for such kind of cultivation, but they have listed vendors and everything related to button mushroom right now. What about oyster? Like suppose if we are importing
If
something
you go to
from.
NHE website, at least when I was asked to make changes, I included all the mushrooms in that. I'm not sure what is there on the website. They are dealing with all the mushrooms. Go to
Yeah,
NHE.
that's why I'm asking, sir, if suppose I'm importing some mechanism from the outside of India, so
Mhm.
the subsidy can be applicable for those machines also.
Maybe I'm not the right person to answer this question.
Oh, okay. No worries, sir. No worries. It was very informative actually, your presentation also. So can we get a copy
It
of
is
that also?
possible because it's the mushroom machinery and there is a general guideline that you will get some subsidy for mushroom machinery. So I believe that the
Okay.
40% subsidy will be applicable to machinery as well as the infrastructure. That's the general guideline.
Okay.
And there are guidelines not only for button but for all the machines.
Right, sir. And sir, one more request actually I have. Can I get your presentation as I was in hospital? So I was not able to see that presentation properly.
Okay, no problem. There is nothing much in the presentation. Better than that will be that I will send you a link
Okay. Okay,
that
sir.
I think they are recording it and they will be giving you link as I understand.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Obviously, you can get this recording from these people.
Sir,
Okay. Thanks a lot.
if you share the PPT on the email, you can reply to the
They are,
email with PPT. I'll make it part of the YouTube video. It will be shared in the description. There will be a link to the PPT in the description of the video when the video will be uploaded to the YouTube.
so
Thank you, sir.
Majid is telling you that you need not worry. You can see it in the YouTube on the link, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Hmm.
Any other question, please?
Enough of it. I think
Yes,
know
sir.
it
I
that
think
it's a mix of people. Some people are highly educated. Some people are already working in the universities. I could at least recognize some of the faces from PAU, from South India. Here was Dr. Hira was there. And some senior Muslims who are here, and they are farmers. So I'm not very sure that how many of you are interested in this type of lecture. But then this was a topic assigned to me. I thank you all for your patient listening. Thank you very much. Thank you, Majid.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for being with us on behalf of the participants and on behalf of the organizing committee. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Sir, can I have a question, sir?
Okay.
Sir, sorry to
No
interrupt you.
problem. No problem.
Sir, my name is Noor Nawaz. I'm working as assistant professor microbiologist. I'm teaching microbiologist, and I've given mushroom training for oyster mushroom training for many farmers as of now. But the farmers actually they ask common questions, sir, which I could not able to answer them. Like when you order mushroom delicacies in the hotels, why it is only button mushroom? Why not oyster mushroom, sir?
Because things are going to change, number one. It is not that it will be always like that. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you will find auricularia, you will find shiitake, you will find oyster. And in Delhi restaurants, I have seen oyster recipes being popularized as pictures. The only reason is that in India, we start with button. And most of the people were going earlier to the Europe and US only. And there button was popular and everyone thought that button is a mushroom, and mushroom was introduced initially only in the hilly states of J&K, Himachal and these areas only, where button was more congenial. But things are going to change. With changing time, oyster will be popular.
Okay. Sir, is it the reason that button mushroom looks very, aesthetic look it has? One thing. Second thing is taste. These are the two reasons?
I personally prefer oyster more than the button.
Okay,
and
sir.
even more than the oyster, I prefer paddy straw mushroom.
Okay, sir. I will not taste another. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Especially the white button is almost tasteless.
Oh, really, sir? I was not knowing, sir.
You try paddy straw mushroom sometime, then you will realize even shiitake is too strong a flavor that some people are not even able to take that strong flavors.
Sir, among 4 species like paddy straw, button mushroom, oyster, and all those things, so which is most tastiest, sir? Because I have only tasted button mushroom. Even I am a microbiologist.
You are going for my rating. I say paddy straw mushroom, oyster, button. I put milky in the end because milky has got a very strong flavor.
Yes, sir.
Which is not liked by some people, especially if you don't harvest it early. Because if you delay the harvesting, then
Yes,
those flavors start getting enhanced. Same is true of every mushroom. Even in button,
yes, sir.
When the spores are formed and if it is a mature button, the flavor will be more. Flavor will be less when it is early stages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
That's my rating, not any international rating.
So, paddy straw mushroom is more tastier than any other mushrooms.
That's my rating.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Especially, we express our gratitude for Sir for being with us here today on behalf of participants and on behalf of organizing. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Let's join back at 2:30 again. There will be a separate link shared the participants in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
Thank you.